Hi guys, welcome back, and this is the last lecture in our first section of the course, the sort of welcome and informational section. What I want to do in this last lecture is a little show and tell to give you a perspective of the types of web applications we're going to create, from very simplistic ones to a bit more complex, a bit more stylized versions, so you get a broad overview of what we're going to cover. So in the beginning of the course, we're going to create some simple web forms consisting of a number of controls, ASP.NET controls. They look very similar to desktop applications. Here we have a simple application that has radio buttons, checkboxes, a regular button, and a label, just like you would find in a desktop application. Give you a quick run for what it looks like. Okay, so this sort of a built-in server, sort of a mini server built into Visual Studio that allows us to do this without having a real web server. And I'll give you a quick run so we can pick things. Checkboxes let you have more than one choice, and then we'll figure out the final price. So there's a first simple application that we're going to create as part of our course. Our next sample demo involves the concept of validated forms. You've been on lots of sites where you have to type in some information. Maybe you forget to type in a password, or the passwords don't match, or you incorrectly type in the format of the email, and they respond and say there's an error, please fill in the missing information. This is what this form does, and show you a quick run. All right, so let's just type in a login, and I'll type in AA and then BB, which obviously don't match, and I'll type in C, and I'll use a weird sign for an email, and I'll type in an age. All right, so you can see already I'm getting all kinds of error messages. The passwords don't match, you're missing the @ sign. So this is another idea that we're going to be teaching as part of this course. Next up, the use of the calendar. Kind of a neat application. We schedule appointments, click on various dates. Depending on the date, we get a certain selection of times, and then we submit our appointment. Give you a quick run. All right, so first of all, you notice that I can't click on the weekends. I pick a date, and when I click on that date, the 9th, for instance, all these times are available. If I pick the 6th, only those times are available. Let's pick 10:30, submit it, and it's written down our scheduled appointment. So there's a neat application using the calendar control. Now, most websites have multiple pages, usually a main menu, and then you go to a second, third, fourth page. Here's a quick example of a website that uses a login and allows us to go to another page if you type in the right login. So let's go down here. I'll type in my login name and then my password. Let's pretend it's DD, which is not the right login. It's not going to let me in. Let's try CC, which is the correct password. Brings me to another page. Actually gives me away the password. Remember, this is for instructional purposes only, and allows me to show the images of various basketball players. Next up, how about a fun little game? Can't tell from this display screen, but let's give it a run, and we'll show you what it would look like on the internet. So you could make a bet and pull the lever, and it's just like a simulated casino slots game. Depending on if you get 3 in a row, am I going to get 3 in a row? There. Okay. Now, once we learn the basics of creating web forms, we want them to look a little bit more professional. So we introduced the concept of style sheets. And here's a quick example of how we're going to format more of our websites. There's going to be a header, maybe a sidebar, maybe a menu, maybe a footer, and maybe the middle part will have our content. Now let's kick up those style sheets up a notch and introduce the concept of master pages also. And I'll give you a quick run of this. And now we're getting more and more slick. So now we've got a particular look, and each of the separate pages has that consistent look, which introduces this concept of master pages. Now the last half to third of the course focuses it on making a connection to a database, and that's one of the most important parts of a dynamic website, this connection to data that we can display, erase, modify. And just to give you a quick overview, here's one that focuses on the CRUD principle, okay? Creation, read, update, delete. So you can look at the different records in the database, Let's say we want to get rid of me. Oh, that's not good, but we'll get rid of me. I'm gone. All right. We can edit something. Rosemary is now Smith instead of Shirelli. All right. And the actual database will be updated. Okay. And we can create new people. So this is the next and most important part of this course. Now, once we feel comfortable updating, creating a database, the next logical step is to query the database, actually look for information in the database and display it. Here's a quick example of that. So we've got a drop-down list. We'll look for tour number 305, and it'll display the actual locations of cities that tour will be at. One last demo just to show you some of the cool things you can do. In this one, we're going to query the database but use two constraints. So we're going to have a beginning and an ending to search. And we're going to use our friend the calendar control, which is kind of a cool control to use. Here it comes. So we're going to pick a start date. Let me go back to the beginning of the year. I'll say January the 1st. Okay, and it shows up there. I'll go all the way to August 23rd, and it shows me the particular records for those particular constraints. Okay, so a neat little application. So there you have a quick overview of the kinds of things we're going to be doing in this course using simple ASP.NET, and it's just for beginners. It's a gentle introduction. Don't feel intimidated. In the same respect, if you've got a lot of experience already and you're looking for something more complicated, this might not be the course for you. Take care, and we'll see you in the next lecture.